What's up, boys and girls? Welcome back. All right, at SHOT Show 2025, I debuted this for you guys. This is new from Streamlight as of that show. It is the ProTac 2.0 RM, which stands for Rail Mount HP. And a little bit of did you know that this little silver ring right here is actually trademarked by Streamlight? All right, so real quick, showing it to you in its M-LOK mount configuration. For the rest of this video, I'm actually gonna unmount it from this platform. I'm probably already demonetized just for showing you this, but let's get it off of here and get you a closer look. There is your closer look at it. So you can see that it has an M-LOK mount here. It does also come with a thumb screw pick mount, okay? So if you wanted to go that route, the M-LOK version is swappable, so you can take out these two little screws right here, switch it to the other side. So if you like it on the left side of the handguard, if you like it on the right side of the handguard, top, bottom, you can accommodate either of those. It does have a push button on the back for activation, as well as you can see the little port right there where you plug in the pressure pad cable. Now the pressure pad that's actually on this handguard here is the one from what I would call the predecessor, which I had the HLX rail mount version, all right? I did a full review of this. I'll post a card right up here on the screen if you want to go check that out. But in terms of the form factor here, you can see that the new 2.0 is probably, I don't know, half a head taller than the other one there, maybe half an inch, 3/4 of an inch taller than the predecessor. However, this pressure pad and cable works on the new version. So I didn't even have to take this thing off. And all I had to do was unmount the M-LOK on the old one and swap this one on. And I know I said I wasn't going to show you this anymore, but here is the pressure pad, and it mounts onto the rail, the pick rail on the top here. Not a huge fan of these two little pieces that you got to get on here. Maybe there's a trick to it. I have several of these mounts. I don't love mounting these things. It's just kind of a pain in the butt. So hopefully they come up with a better way for that. But also right there, that is that new rig cable management system from Neomag. I'll put a link in the description below where you can check that out. Let's go over the specs on these two. I'm going to put it in the upper left-hand corner of the screen here. Now in column B, I have the predecessor, which was the rail mount HLX model. And in column C, I have the 2.0 rail mount HP model. The HLX is 1,000 lumens on high. The HP is 2,000 lumens on high. Now this is where I think the HLX had quite a bit of room for improvement. 60 lumens on low. For a weapon light, that's just too low in my opinion. The HP brings it in at 250, which is probably almost the bare minimum that you would want on a weapon light, especially a rail-mounted rifle light. So good job on the upgrade there for at least 250 lumens on low on the new HP model. Candela, the HLX puts out 50,000. The HP puts out 85,000. You'll kind of see some of this in the nighttime footage. And what you'll notice is that the hot spot on the HP, they almost look same brightness when you have the two of them next to each other, but the hot spot on the HP is almost twice as big as the one on the HLX. So it's got double the lumen output on high and then 35,000 more candela, so almost double the candela. Okay, in terms of the battery, the HLX comes with Streamlight's B26, and you can also use two CR123As. The new HP model comes with what they call their B50. It is quite a bit bigger, as you see on the screen here. If I roll in a little bit of footage here, I want you to see this little notch right there, all right? I'm gonna get into that in just a second. Because this one is chargeable from inside the light, this notch actually helps when you insert it into the body of the flashlight to index it properly so that that charging port is always in exactly the right position. I'll show you that here in just a second. In terms of throw, the HLX reaches out to 447 meters and the HP reaches out to 583 meters. When we look at runtime, the HLX can run 1.75 hours on high or 24 hours on low. Again, it's only 60 lumens. For the HP model, it can run 2.5 hours on high or 11 hours on low. All right, so let me show you the battery. There's that little notch. You see that there, that little indentation on it? If I drop that in here, you'll notice the battery sticks out a little bit. If I twist it, find the right index point, all right, it drops down in, and now it is perfectly indexed so that, I'm gonna hold it in there. When you pull down the little sleeve here, the charging port, the USB-C charging port, lines up perfectly on the outside of the light. So here you can see if I let that battery drop out, it indexes it perfectly. Now the battery on the predecessor, the HLX model, you had to actually remove the battery and it charged via micro USB, not USB-C. So quite an upgrade now that they went to the USB-C. I hope I never have to use micro USB again. I mean, at this point, we should just be beyond it. Obviously, this is an older light, and that was kind of relevant at the time, but USB-C is where it's at. And on that one, it really doesn't matter which way you throw it in there because there is no ability to like open this up and charge it from the outside, so no need for it to index or anything like that. All right, let's take a look at some of that nighttime footage. All right, up first is the older version. This is the HLX. For the purposes of just easy to remember terminology, I'm going to call this 1.0, move that off to the side, and here is the 2.0. All right, so again, there is the 1.0, there is the 2.0. Let's kind of do them fast against that building there. So for frame of reference, that barn building that you see there is 61 yards from where I'm standing, and it's 14 feet tall at the peak. So it kind of gives you an idea for the size of the hotspots on these lights. So you can see here on the 1.0, the hotspot at 61 yards is about the size of the height of the barn. If I move that off to the side, here is the 2.0. That hotspot's probably 1.5 or maybe even 2 times the size of the height of that barn. Way back there in that dark spot, so let me zoom in here. You can see kind of an orange silt fence way back there. You see that? All right, that is 101 yards from where I'm standing. It is easily visible, even with the little bit of mist that I have in the air here tonight. It did rain a couple hours ago, and even with that, I can easily see it. Now, in terms of the spill on these, you can see they're very, very similar. If I bring them down, 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 yeah, the spills are very, very similar on these. I can't really see a difference. So to me, the primary difference is the size of the hotspot on this one. Now, obviously, it's got a bigger battery. Also, it's going to last longer. Now, both of these are programmable for a couple different modes. It uses what they call their 10-tap interface. So I'm not going to go through it all here, but it's super simple. You tap the button 10 times and it goes into a programming mode, and it switches to the next mode each time you run it through that sequence. All right, now in terms of price, the previous version, the 1000 lumen HLX, is probably going to run you about $135 at the time of filming this video. Again, kind of subjective depending on where you shop. The 2.0 RMHP is going to run you probably about $155. That is the price that I found both of these for on Amazon. I'm going to put links to both of them in the description below if you want to check those out. So some really cool features on the new 2.0 HP. It is quite a bit bigger. I will tell you that. It is noticeably bigger than the previous version. I really like this size. But unfortunately, with that battery that's in there, you're just not going to be able to push it to the levels that they got with the new HP version. All right, so pick your poison on that there. But again, links in the description below for you to check both of those out. And that is it, guys. If you like this video, consider giving it a like, consider following the channel. I actually do a ton of giveaways on this channel. In fact, I've given away a lot of Streamlight stuff, and I might have something that I'm going to give away from them here pretty soon. So there's also a link in the description below to my newsletter. I do not spam you. I just let you know when my giveaways go live, so make sure you jump in that newsletter. Appreciate your time watching. As always, got a lot more content to come, and I'll see you in the next one.